Listen, Zoe, I'm absolutely honored to have you on with us. First of all, the Black Swan, a woman that's making so much noise in the world of professional wrestling. Every time I go on Twitter, every time I'm on Instagram, you're always popping up, and I know you have a really busy schedule. For the fans that are watching right now, we were due to do this 2 days ago, but the one day that we get a power cut in our office is truly bizarre. But we are here, and we're absolutely honored to have you on. So tell us, how has 2023 been for you so far? Look, it's been a busy year.
It really has. It's been absolutely life-changing and eye-opening because, at the beginning of this year, I was still in my dance company and I was still dancing and I got introduced to wrestling and that transition of just being a dancer and then dancing and wrestling and now just wrestling. Uh, it's obtuse, I would like to say, because it's something that I never thought my life would go into, nor did any of my friends or family ever thought that I would transition into. But the amount of support and surprise and encouragement that I've gotten with it has been very appreciated, and I I'm still trying to wrap my head around this entire year. And now that it's actually almost over as well, 2023, I'm like, the door is open and I'm gonna walk into whatever is gonna come.
Definitely, Zoe. And look, we have to mention the dancing. Like, surely that's a good thing when it comes to professional wrestling because number one, you know how to stretch out, you know how to warm up that body, right? Secondly, you know what I mean? I suppose, you know what I mean? Like, there will be injuries in life. Everyone gets injured somehow, if it's dancing, if it's wrestling, but clearly you know your body quite well. So that will help when it comes to taking knocks, taking the punishment in the ring. And that's surely a good thing, I think.
It it is. I've definitely one thing that I've noticed with picking up wrestling is that there's a lot of similarities between dance and wrestling that a lot of people don't realize. And because you have your vocabulary and you're creating a story for the audience. It's not necessarily, at least how I see it is, I don't see it as it's for me, is for them. It is to express how I want to tell whatever I am in the ring or on stage for them and have them understand what I'm trying to say without using, and I don't even have to use words for it either. With wrestling we use grunts and then of course we have the backlash and everything, but with that you're still trying to tell something to the audience. And because of my athletic background, it has been very easy as well to pick up the vocabulary, or at least to pick up the move sets. And I've even had my coaches yell at me sometimes because they would want to demonstrate something for my crew and the rest of the students, and they would put me in something and I'm just like, is this supposed to hurt? And they're like, Zoe, why do you have to be so flexible? I'm like, I'm sorry, hi, I'm a dancer. Um, but the bumps and bruises all the same, just different areas, I guess. With dance, it's mostly on my feet. Dancers, we don't have pretty feet at all. But with wrestling, it's just waking up randomly and saying like, oh, there's a bruise randomly on my body part. Do I know where I got it from? Nope. Does it look nasty? Most definitely. But we're just gonna continue on with the day and call it one.
I love it. Like, when it comes to wrestling, first of all, growing up, were you a fan? Because obviously, look, you've took to wrestling like duck takes to water, right? You really are a natural. I've been watching a lot of your stuff on YouTube. I'm only praying that we see you in Ireland towards the end of the year or early next year. UK, Ireland, if you're in the UK, we're going to make that flight to the UK. But look, there's a lot of stuff happening at the moment for you. But tell us, growing up, were you a wrestling fan, or is it just something that I suppose you observe quite, you know what I mean, your teens, your that kind of area?
Um, Funny thing is, I never grew up watching wrestling. I always like to say that my family, we're lovers, not fighters. My mom, she was a dancer before me, and my dad, he worked stagehand. So that's how they met, and obviously the rest is history. And children later. But yeah, no, growing up, we were very into the arts and whatnot. So when this opportunity presented itself, I took it as a why not? Because if I didn't like it, then I knew I wasn't going to like it. But if I did, hey, that's something that I could, save it for later, or say like, hey, like I tried wrestling and it was super fun. So I'm kind of 2 decades behind of history that I need to catch up on. But yeah, I never grew up watching wrestling, not even in teenage years. I would say like the when I was asked to join and when I started training and going back to training, that's when I realized like, oh, like this is something that I'm actually putting time in and I want to be a part of. So I got to figure out who all the big names are. And obviously everyone knows the major names and the I like to call them the founding fathers of wrestling, of what made it so spontaneous and amazing to this day. But the smaller details, or like a particular match, I would have a hard time understanding that reference. So then I have to go home, write it down, go home, look at the look at the match, see what they're talking about, and then come back a day later, be like, oh, I know what you're talking about now.
And like, you know what I mean? It's gone from strength to strength. Look, we've had so many wrestlers. Like we've, you know what I mean, over the last 10 years, we've been lucky enough to interview, the greats, Trish Stratus, you know what I mean, Alexa Bliss. We've had them all on. And Zoe, there's just something about you I like. It's just when I predict something that happens, and we've had the likes of, as you said, Tony Storm was one. We've had Sasha Banks, we've had Bailey, and we've interviewed them last year and many years ago. And at the start of their careers, we've always said, look, there's definitely something about you. You're going to go far. It's the same for you. I just generally believe that in a couple of years, you know what I mean. The world is yours. It's you know what I mean. When you, as you said, when we go on Twitter, when we do our research for our shows, when we're doing stuff, your name's always popping up. So look, you're doing something right. How much do you enjoy the wrestling right now, and have you become addicted to this amazing, this amazing thing where you can entertain people all around the world? It's so cool. Like, wrestling's a family. It brings so much entertainment to people. You know what I mean? You're very athletic. So are you absolutely addicted to it? Is it something that, look, you can see yourself doing for many, many, many years to come?
I definitely, I won't put a deadline to this, but what I've been saying is I'm riding this wave until it either drowns me or I get to have that glory moment of being in the tube and seeing the beauty behind it, because it's something so far out of how my life was brought up. It is addicting. I will not lie about that. There's been times where I would support a few of my folks and would go watch a show, and I wouldn't have wrestled or even trained in a while, and I would get itchy. I'm just like, put me in the ring. Just let me just spontaneously go in there and just break it up. I'll do it. I don't care. No one knows who I am. The fact that you have seen me everywhere has been thought. I'm starstruck behind it, because I actually just recently came up on my first year anniversary of my ever debut. So I've done so much in a year, and the fact that people from across the world have all of a sudden, they're like, oh, there's a bird, there's a swan over there that's kind of causing some chanting. What's going on? So it's I'm completely absorbed and so invested in it. I feel like I'm trying to explain it more to my mother than anyone else, because since she didn't grow up watching wrestling, she's always asking, so how many promotions are there? I'm just like, well, mother, there's a lot. And she's like, well, then you were here, so what? Then you're there, and then they're reaching out. So what's going on? I'm like, Mama, the wrestling community is huge. It's quiet. We're very underground and we're very low key, but the community is so expansive and is so broad that a lot of people don't realize there's wrestling fans until wrestling is brought up. And then you see everybody like light up, like, oh yeah, I grew up watching wrestling too. Like, oh, the connection. Um, but yeah, it's been an investment. And because the similarities between wrestling and dance have been so common for me, I'm able to get that craving to keep on doing it. And me, with my dance background, I have this like perfection mindset and this mentality of like doing nothing but good and be better and always do better next time and this and that. So coming in here and seeing the wrestling community being just as welcoming um, made me really happy, because, in it might have not been expressed everywhere, but in the dance world, we're a little shady. We're a little stab of the back because we want to be the best. And I'm not saying it's not the same with wrestling, but there's definitely more of a warmth behind it of like, oh, you're up and coming, you're one of the greens. Let me give you some insight of how you could be better, or they'll tell you like, oh, that was absolute trash. This is what you got to do, and I'll still take that nonetheless. But I've been greeted with like no one but nice people, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. I like it.
Oh, it's surreal. Like as you said, look, we present the Wrestle Slam show, and it's the number one show in Ireland, and we do a lot of stuff. You know what I mean, with like the indie scene in America. And as I say, Zoe, your name keeps coming up. We keep seeing. I think there was a convention a few weeks back, like it might have been like a WrestleCon, and there was fans there to meet you, and you had your little stall and fan pictures and stuff, and that's the start of it. But look, for the last 12 months, you know what I mean. There's not many like wrestlers, you know what I mean. They make an impact, but the way you've made that impact in the 12 months has been incredible. Like I generally believe 2024 will be a year where there's going to be many contracts on your table. Now, not taking away from the indie scene, because the independent scene is so important. It's so good. We're big supporters of that indie scene. But obviously, it must be great just to be part of such a big indie scene, and to wrestle so many great people weekly and monthly.
It really is. Each time I go to different places, or at least different promoters who reach out to me, I see familiar faces and then I see new faces. So in some faces, they've already established their name and they've already exceeded and excelled, at least in my eyes, from a goal that I would love to reach. So every time I see someone that I would love to meet or be like, hey, I'm up and coming. Hello, please remember me, and definitely give me any feedback or anything that I can excel in. It's always such a great opportunity. Sadly, I've not gone out the country yet. I'm hoping that 2024 is going to bring. I actually just had a birthday recently, and I turned 23. So here, everyone's saying that this is my Jordan era, and I'm about to thrive in being 23. But at least I've gone all over the country. The meet and greet was in New York and New Jersey. I've gone out to Texas. I've done most of my shows in California. I'm hoping soon in the future I get to go down to either to Mexico or up into Canada. But each time that I go, I always feel so humbled, because there's all these people who have watched wrestling since they were young, and me coming in so fresh and have had such a great opportunity through my first year. I have nothing but gratitude with everyone that I meet, even if they have gone the same time period of me, or they've been doing this for 6, 7, 10 plus years. I feel like I am unworthy of everybody.
You belong, and there's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. Like, and we have to think of, like, we have to speak of, first of all, your appearance, right? I love the eyes, right? I love the way you enter the ring. Tell us where all that comes from, because, like, obviously, you know what I mean. You have so much inspiration, so much courage. First of all, to hop in that ring and to wrestle. But look, your inspiration. Where does all that come from, and your appearance? Because it is very unique.
I will admit, I am an introvert at heart. I may not appear it, but I am definitely a shy bug. So, at least with dancing growing up, when you're on the stage, you feel like you're in a box and it's just a screen. So you don't have to necessarily interact with the audience. Sometimes you do, depending on the choreography, but with it, I still feel like I am untouchable and I'm still presenting. So at least with wrestling, because I get to have that 4D interaction, and I get to, zone in and stare people with my eyes. They're like, oh. Um, with Black Swan, I've been doing dance for 21 years now, and grew up. Ballet was my main skill set, but I've always wanted to be a prima ballerina. Now, the gods did not bless me with the genetics for a prima ballerina, because you kind of have to be on the tall and lanky side, and my grandmothers blessed me with their bodacious curves. So I'm not saying it's impossible for me to be a prima with some meat on my bones, but it's definitely a little bit more on the challenging side. And growing up, I always got that mentality of just like, oh, I'm not going to be a professional dancer, so I'll just keep using this as a hobby and study something else. But when this came, when I first started training, it was actually my father. He was the one who, he didn't tell me not to pursue wrestling, but he also didn't agree to pursue wrestling. So I went with yes. My mom was not into it, and my dad, he gave me a nickname. He was the one, he's like, Zoe, picture this: the badass ballerina, or Babe for short. I'm like, that's a good idea. We'll stick it in the pocket, and we'll keep it. Simply because I'm like, oh, well, that's extravagant. But the more training that I did, and my coach was like, okay, you're very bendy and you got a lot of legs, so we're just gonna teach you a lot of legs things and just kicks. I'm like, yeah, I could just, bend in half like a quesadilla. But the initiation of me carrying my dance background into this, I thought it was a great way for me to still have it with me, because since I've been doing it for so long, I can't just drop it. It's still a part of who I am, and I still dance to this day. I'm not going to be like, oh, that was end of it, move on. So I thought about it. I'm like, okay, what's a mysterious character that a lot of people know? And you have Sleeping Beauty, and you have Romeo and Juliet, you have Giselle, you have all these immaculate ballets that a lot of people know. And I'm like, okay, Swan Lake. One of the antagonists is a black swan. And my brain went two ways. One was, okay, this is a great way for me to carry dance with me. And the other one was, because of my complexion, it could be a double entendre that I am, black swan. So I went more towards the first one, but the second one was more of a joke. And when I went with it and using my ballet background, I'm like, okay, I'm very elegant with my movement. I'm very mobile. And with wrestling, you could tell with all the other wrestlers, they're very loud and very aggressive, and they'll scream in your face. But with me, I'm more on the quiet spectrum, because I rather have you watch and be invested that I'm about to whoop somebody that they have never realized what a whooping was going to be, and still be in awe of it. And, yes, you'll have the encouragement in the middle of the matches and whatnot, but then it's at the end, whether I get that defeat or I get that spontaneous victory, that everyone's like, was a good match, or like, that was something different.
Yeah.
So with the Black Swan, and me still learning about wrestling, and having that mindset of growing together of dance and wrestling, I'm trying to bring something different. I guess, like a new era of wrestling, or that maybe not all people can do, but definitely a category that would not fade away, I would hope. Or I would hope that I'm not too different of what I'm bringing, that people will question and look away. But it's been interesting so far.
It has, and I think your style's very unique. I think it's something that we need to see more of. And I'm so looking forward to what's ahead for the next few months for you, but especially next year, because as you say, you've got the first year ticked, and it's been one hell of a year. You know what I mean? You're very familiar with All Elite Wrestling, which is incredible. I still say it's only a matter of time before we have the likes of NXT, maybe Impact Wrestling. They're going to be looking for that signature. You're going to have that dilemma where you're going to be like, right, do I go to WWE? Do I go to All Elite Wrestling? Do I go to Impact? Do I stay on the indie scene and go around Europe for a couple of months? It's all ahead of you, but let's talk current times and let's talk All Elite Wrestling, right? Something that you're very familiar with. Let's talk NXT, Raw, SmackDown, Impact Wrestling. If you had a choice to make, say, in the next couple of months, you know what I mean? What would you be more observant of right now when it comes to these organizations? I suppose when you have wrestling fans, a lot of them are hardcore indie fans, but like you look at the major brands and the big players like NXT, Impact, All Elite. What would you be leaning towards right now if you had to make a choice in regards to your career? And I want to go there and look, I want to shine that bit more.
Oh, that's a good question. I believe I would definitely, if everything was out on the planet, I think I would try NXT first and or Ring of Honor, because at least the you still have the legibility of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And the crowd, at least the audience from the videos that I've watched, they are invested. So and it doesn't matter about the quantity. At least in my eyes, it matters about the quality, because you can have 10 people as an audience, but they would be just as invested and vibrant, and you can have 100 people and they would be dead silent because they don't understand or they don't want to support, or they deem it non-impressive. So I think NXT would be fun.
Yeah, it is a tough question, because like you look at I suppose this day and age, when someone's with All Elite, right? They seem to have a bit of leadway. These guys can turn up at Impact. They can make an appearance in Europe. Like John Moxley, for example, right? He's one of the main guys in All Elite. John Moxley is going to wrestle in Ireland in October with OTT, so he's got permission to do some indie shows, right? Where obviously with WWE, that's near impossible. You're with WWE and that's it. So now there's many benefits. We look at what happens to the NXT stars and WWE stars as a big platform. Now All Elite's almost, you know what I mean? It's such a big platform as well. Impact is a very good platform. They've got Naomi. Naomi's a match I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you versus Naomi in the near future. That'd be a great match. You have Deanna. So many great stars on that roster with Impact. So it is a hard decision, but I completely understand why you're saying NXT, because like I suppose, for development, for you got so much opportunity there, and then it's such a big audience, it's on, every Tuesday night it's live on TV. It's a massive platform. So look, that's something you're leaning towards, and I reckon that's something that we might see as soon as next year. And I know you're saying it's early days for you. It's your first year, but honestly, Zoe, you've talked to wrestling like a duck takes to water, and it's so natural to you. And I know there's always room to learn more and to get more ring experience. But seriously, you've made such an impact already.
Thank you. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I've definitely have been told that I need to own what I have. And I think because of dance, I'm always insecure about my talents and what I can bring. And one thing from dance that I carry on now is that I have nothing to prove, but I have everything to share. And that's all I can do is share what I can bring to the table. So to have this much impact so far within my first year, I'm like, did I do that?
You did it. You did it.
It's been absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, if Impact or NXT, or even if I stay in the indies, I would still enjoy that as well, because I'm bringing something that not a lot of people are used to. And I know there's another Black Swan in Europe somewhere, I think in England. I can't remember his name, and I do apologize for it too. Um, I do know his name. I can't think of it at the top of my head.
Is it
But
Karen Orr, is it?
yes, you're right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
he's injured at the moment. Good old Cara. Yeah, beautiful entrance. Very good wrestler. And yeah, he's got a really bad injury at the moment, which is unfortunate.
I will pray to the wrestling gods for fast recovery. But I know that his he also does a Black Swan gimmick as well, and I've watched a few clips of him as well, and his wrestling and his entrance. I'm like, okay, we may have the same mindset, but
Mm.
we are different as
Yeah.
well. I'm definitely more of the graceful elegance. Now I don't know if he's worn, tights and ballet slippers growing up, but um, I had to go through all that grueling process. So with it, there's a humbleness behind it, and
Mm.
every time everyone's like, "Oh, Zoe, like you're doing great, you're doing good," and my mind is just like, I could do better, and
I love
that's what I always strive for. I'm just like, it is good. I
it.
get the affirmation from the crowd,
Yeah.
whether if I'm playing heel and they're booing me, or um I am one that I want them to be awed and inspired of, and they cheer, especially the kids. Kids love me. They're like, "Oh my God, it's a birdie that can bend." But
I love it.
um, with it, it's been crazy because everyone's so encouraging for me, and I feel so small because I'm so green and I'm so new into this. I'm just like, I should be thanking you guys for paving the way, for showing me what to do and showing me what not to do and how to avoid and how to excel. And I'm just like, I'm beyond grateful for everything and anything that has happened so far.
Zoe, we're grateful to have you on. And all we say, and it's rare we say this, right? Don't forget us when you're super, 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 super famous. We said that to Bailey and Sasha Banks many years ago. So we obviously, when they were coming up NXT, we obviously chatted to them. And then many years later, we caught about WrestleMania, and they remembered us straight away. And it was in person, which was really cool. Because we obviously travel from Ireland to America from time to time. So that's something that we're going to do with you. We know that we're going to bump into each other very soon. But it's like as you say, look, it's the world is your oyster. I'm telling you, we see absolute stardom here. We're going to give you some quick fire questions, okay? We're going to put you on the spot. No trick questions, just quick questions, right?
Oh,
So there's so many great wrestlers out there at the moment, okay? You can only pick one. Who would that dream match be right now? So if you could put yourself against someone out there on any roster in the world right now, who would that dream match be? Who's that number one person you'd like to wrestle right now?
Lyra Valkyria.
Man, I'm glad you said that. Oh my God. And you know what I mean? She's a particular example of someone that we know very well. We've had, you know what I mean? Aoife's been on with us, you know what I mean, on camera for many years. I think we've done her first ever interview on camera many, many years ago. And she was obviously paired with Becky Lynch on NXT Tuesday night, which was incredible. That would be some match. My God.
I know. I've watched her for a while, and obviously she has her Raven gimmick. I'm like, bird on bird would be great, but also the way she wrestles is phenomenal. She's incredible, and her presence and her stare, it gives me chills. So I'm like, I think I would learn so much from her, and she would be able to. We would be able to have a good time. But that was the first name that ever that popped
I
into my head.
love it. I love it. The Black Swan versus Lara Valkyria, Aoife Cusack. That would be what a match that would be. I love it. Right, there's so many countries right now that you have, you know what I mean, that I'm sure you'll visit in due course. But when you hear of Ireland and the UK, what's your thoughts on hearing about, the success there when it comes to wrestling? What's your first thoughts when you hear UK and Ireland and wrestling? Do you hear good things?
Oh yes, sign me up. I already have my passport. Let me know when and where. I'm there. I'm already.
I love it.
um, I've 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 not heard as much as I should have, at least across the seas. But what I I have had her has been amazing. Obviously, OTT
Yeah.
has been a really good impact over there, and I've watched a few matches, and y'all are some scary creatures. But
Yeah, it's surely it's a matter of time. Look, we have so many organizations here in Ireland. You have RCW, OTT, Hard Knocks. It's only a matter of time before you have to put the girls. The girls will be on alert. You know, the Black Swan's in town. She's coming.
I'm flying in. Y'all better watch out.
I love it. And we're looking forward. Look, it's only a matter of time. We will see you here soon. There's no doubt about that. What's your favorite food?
That's hard. Yes, that's my answer. Yes,
Yes,
all of the above.
all the food, especially all the buffets in Las Vegas. Man, them buffets in Vegas. You know, such a nice place to eat. But look, you're in good shape. I'd say you really, you know what I mean. Keep an eye on what you do eat.
Oh, you have to. From a dancer to a wrestler, there ain't no way that I can't get out of shape. And I'm a personal trainer. So, it would be a little off if I come to see one of my clients and I got, a donut in my hand and pizza in my pocket and fries in the car. But I mean, the buffets are here. They're nice and they're fun to grub out every once in a while. But I grew up, my dad knows how to cook and my mom knows how to bake. So it was always home made food. And my mama, she makes the best salmon and green quiche.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. I love it. Right, what's the strongest muscle in your body? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say calves, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong, but like, dancer, they say calves. But tell us, what is that strongest muscle in the body?
Oh, my strongest? I actually would have to say my quads.
What?
If it, my calves are big. Let's see if I can. Let's see a
Yeah,
little bit.
they're dancer calves.
From here, yeah. This is all.
They're
You can
strong.
barely see it.
I wouldn't fancy getting a kick off you. That would not be nice. You drop me in a sec, I'd say, no doubt.
But they're all just for show. I got some thick boys, but my jumping ability we need to work on. But I'd definitely say, well, no, maybe not my quads. I would have to say my core because the core is what keeps you impacted through everything. Because with dance, you have to go from one direction to another. You have to go on the floor and then get up and then roll around and then jump and then down. So all that direction change, it starts with your center and then it goes out with your body. So if anything, I would have to say core.
Respect. You don't skip leg day. You don't skip any day. Right. What's your biggest attribute in the ring? Because look, we were seeing all these incredible matches. You know what I mean? So much to watch, and it's so entertaining. So, what's your biggest attribute in the ring?
I'd have to. These are rapid questions. These are thinkers. I don't know. I guess it could be my presence. I am the black sheep of everyone. So it can be I come off as something either really good or something that is really bad. So it's definitely in between and it's either how I um say or express in the ring or whatever the audience concludes as well. It could go either way.
I love it. I love it. Mysterious. You know what I mean? Can we expect future heel turns? I like that mysterious way. Good and bad. There's a bit of good and bad in you, which is good. It keeps people thinking and wondering. Last question, because I know you're extremely busy, right? Who is the best wrestler in the world right now, in your opinion? You can do male and female if you want.
Oh, I have to choose one?
I might let you choose two. Look, I'll let you choose two. We'll go two females. Who's the top two in the world right now, in your opinion?
Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley.
They're great picks. Would you say Charlotte Flair is the greatest of all time as it stands?
I would say she is one of the founding fathers.
Love it.
I'd say The greatest, she's definitely up there. Is she the top tier? I plead the fifth because I know there are an exceptional amount of wrestlers that has more, I won't say more skills, but a different way of capturing, because it depends on what skill levels you're looking at. Some can be really good at wrestling itself, and others can be really good at the entertainment aspect. Charlotte, she definitely has both. She's had a plethora amount of years to evolve and progress. And some wrestlers, they're just getting started and figuring out who they are before they blossom and they thrive. So I'll put Charlotte is in her own category along with, the Hardy Boys, Undertaker, and everything. She is the starter of females.
Yes, I agree. Zoe, listen, it's an absolute honor and privilege to speak to you. We're going to have many more chats as the years go on. Absolutely loving your presence, your smiles, your mysterious ways. We'll catch you very soon. Look, we'll be stateside in the near future, but look, I'm sure we'll see you in the UK or Ireland before that. And we'll have to get some merch off you. We're going to make sure we'll get some signed pictures and we can give away to fans and stuff. But we will catch you very soon. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today, all the way in Viva Las Vegas, and we're in Cork, Ireland. We'll see you soon, champ, and we'll have all the updates, all the links to your social platforms on the link below. So we'll catch you soon, guys. Zoe, thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. I'm greatly appreciative of everything that has happened.
And don't forget us.
How could I ever? This is the first time international. I'm a little American, ain't ever.
I love it. Zoe, we'll catch you soon, champ. And look, have a great weekend, okay?